Hey guys, I'm back home. I'm super tired from jet lag, and um, I just wanted to briefly describe my experience abroad. It taught me there's a difference. There obviously is a difference between the Korean educational system compared to the American educational system, and although I didn't get an opportunity to be able to be in the Korean middle school class like I wanted to, because eventually I want to be a middle school teacher. So the difference that I found is ones that were when I was in the college classroom, because it's still an educational aspect of the system, and the difference between the Korean is that they are more of the, let's say, how would you put it? They are more of a, they don't ask questions while they are in the classroom, where the teachers expect you to participate in group activities or whole classroom instruction, where you would ask teachers questions and answer their questions and elaborate on what you've learned and discuss what eventually you'll be able to do with what you learned. In, in the Korean classrooms, I noticed that the American exchange students would sit in the front of the classroom, because we're used to either sitting in the front or the back, depending on who you are as a person regarding where do you want to sit in the classroom. I like to sit more towards the front. Well, the Koreans would sit in the back of the classroom and they would just listen when the teacher asked the question. I don't know if it was because the teacher talked too fast in English or he made some jokes that they didn't understand. Whereas we would, because we had an American teacher. But they wouldn't generally answer questions or discuss more in depth about what we're learning. So, there's the difference that I learned as far as what another culture or another country does in their educational systems compared to American educational systems. To learn more about the Korean culture experience, you have to travel. You learn from books, you learn about the history, the colonization of Japan and Korea in 1910, the annexation they did, the dynasties. You learn about that in books, but it's more of an experience if you actually go to places like a palace that has all the history that involves dynasties, as far as the Gyeongbokgung Palace that I visited early on in the semester. And in October, I put on the blog that there is a palace that is only open 3 days out of the whole entire year, and it's October. This place has not been touched as far as when Japan annexed Korea, they go in and they colonize Korea, or when North Korea invaded South Korea. This is a palace that has not been touched, not been damaged, and they preserve it. The government preserved this place so that the history is still there. Most of the architectural places in Korea that's been touched has been renovated, redesigned, back to what it was in the dynastical ages. This one has not been touched, and it felt really great to be a part of history, knowing, what it actually looked like back in its dynasty days. And I learned a lot through that. And then on the first tour we went to Jeju Island for the program we were in at Wonju. We visited the history of the island, of the grandfather statue, that if you touch a certain part of the grandfather statue, you're gonna have a boy, or you're gonna have a girl, or they're gonna be smart, they're gonna be rich. It just all depends on where you touch it. So that was very interesting. I also went to the old Korean traditional houses that are still preserved, and people still live in these houses that there's like no electricity, no, I don't think there's any plumbing there was at all there either, but they do, people still do live in houses like this that they had years, like hundreds, maybe thousands of years ago. And so just walking through it, you had to be quiet because people still do live in them, but you can still look at these houses and admire what they went through back then. Just being able to be diving into the culture because of the scholarship they had through Gilman gave me the best opportunity I've ever would have asked for, and without that scholarship I probably wouldn't have experienced more of my history of what my background really is as a half Korean, first generation Korean American child. But another, I would say that the experience I've gained would probably be one of the most memorable moments in my life, especially living on campus, living in, having that cultural experience at a university, like to compare to an American campus, because I lived there my first couple years of my college career. It's different. They're more stricter in their rules. You have a card, which Akron does have a card where you swipe in and swipe out, but there's no limit to when you can come home, how long you're gone, and who can come in and out. Whereas in Korea, most of the schools, I learned that all the schools are very strict as far as boys and girls are separated. Boys cannot go to the girls' side, girls cannot go to the boys' side. There is a common area in the first floor, and that's pretty much all you're going to get. And their curfew hours, you have to be back by 12. You get demerit points, and if you get 10, they do kick you out, and you do have to find somewhere else to live, as in like apartment. I know someone that had that happen to, and I mean, she had to live in apartment, which was hard because her parents paid for it. That's another difference between Korean and American, is that the Korean parents pay for everything. Like, they save their whole entire life and they pay for their child's experience so that they can have a better career, so that they can make money, so that they can survive in their future. That's their number one priority, is their children. In America, it's different. There are some people that still do pay for their child, but that's people who have money, and it's really hard for someone who, like me, don't have enough finances to help pay for school. And there are opportunities that would help us be able to go to school, whereas in Korea, most of the people that I met, their parents pay for them. They give them a general amount, like allowance every month to pay for everything. And I would say, I wish that had happened to me. Like, they don't want them to work, they don't want them to have a job while they're in college, so they can focus more on their studies and go international and get a better job, get a career. And here it's hard to have that. You have to pay bills if you want to live on your own. If you want something, you have to pay for it. And a car, and they use a lot of buses because it's more of a compacted country. So overall, like I said, it's probably one of the most memorable experiences that I've ever had, and I would recommend the scholarship. Like, I've recommended, I told people that are going to apply for the Gilman Scholarship, because it does help you. It does give you the opportunity to expand your horizons, experience, and your knowledge of other countries, comparing it to America. So, with that said, I'm gonna go sleep for a little bit because I'm so tired still. So, I just wanted to thank the Gilman Foundation for providing this opportunity for me and for giving me a chance to if I can't think of that word right now, so I'm so tired. But it's like having connections with networking. That's the word. Networking. Before, because I want to go, I actually am looking forward to teaching there for a year. There are programs there that I could look forward to, like scholarship programs, when I do graduate with my Bachelor of Science in Education. So that when I do go, I have developed these friendships that people who know, like board members, people who work for schools or other programs that can help me figure out the best program for me, the best option, and to help me just push me in the right direction, give me guidance in that I can have the best experience again in Korea. So thank you. And I hope to attend meetings. Hopefully I'll be seeing some emails from you guys to attend meetings that are closer to home to talk more about my experience. So again, thank you. And I'll be hearing from you guys soon.